This is Tatiana.
And this is Brian.
And we're with Profit with Purpose.
So you're thinking of starting a social enterprise.
And this is why it's the next generation of business.
Everybody uses a laptop and or a smartphone. And the question has arisen lately, is there room for a third category of device in the middle? Something that's between a laptop and a smartphone. They're going to have to be far better at doing some really important things. Better than the laptop, better than the smartphone.
Social enterprise is the next generation of business, much like how the iPad is the next generation of technology. This is why we like to call social enterprise the iPad of the business world. Social enterprise sits between charity and business. It's the hybrid. It's got to be better at some key things. Stanford's Social Innovation Review wrote, "In search of the hybrid ideal." You'll find research from Harvard Business School and Echoing Green examine the rise of hybrid organizations that combine aspects of nonprofit and for-profit. This is the hybridization movement. What we see here is social only versus financial only, where we have some traditional nonprofit versus traditional company. We like to call it charity or business, or put simply, giving or gaining. This is social enterprise. This is hybrid organizations. This is the mix of value creations. This is what makes social enterprise far better at key things. It's the perfect blend of value creation.
So we wanted to give you some real world examples that you probably already know and use. So Brian, why don't you tell them about Adidas Parlay?
So Adidas partnered with Parlay for the Oceans, an organization and brand that upcycles plastic from the oceans and the beaches, puts them together, and uses them to make training wear, shoes, hats, different products. I love the Adidas brand. I've always worn them, and so recently I actually just bought the Adidas training outdoor jacket, perfect for wind and rain, and it uses plastic from the ocean. So here's a big company, multi-million-dollar company, that's using their position as a big business to make a difference with the world. So there's another next generation business that I know Tatiana and I both really appreciate. It was started by Leila Jenna, and she founded a company called Samasource, right?
Yeah. And so essentially Samasource was started by Leila Jenna in a refugee camp. And in this refugee camp, the problem was not that they were refugees, but that there was no work. So Leila Jenna brought them the work, which was, they're a small tech company at the time, so it's basic computer skills and computer work that they were doing. And fast forward to today, and they are world class at what they do now. And they are hired by the world's largest companies, who are also the most forward-thinking companies like Google and Microsoft. So this, I think, is a fantastic example of why social enterprise is going to be the next generation of business, and why we're so excited to share it with you guys.
Yes.
The next company that we wanted to chat with you and share with you is called OGK, and is started by a young entrepreneur named Danilo Ablin, and we've both met him. Very inspiring individual. But Brian, you know him very well, so maybe if you want to share a little bit about his story.
Sure, yeah. I met Danilo back in 2016, and so it's been at this time 4 years now that we've gotten to know each other. And at that time, he was a social entrepreneur in training, and he started a company called OGK, which is an all-natural detoxifier wellness drink. And it has a few ingredients: oregano. O is oregano, H is honey, G is ginger, and K is calamansi, which is a Philippine citrus fruit. And he kind of revolutionized that system by using a lot of the rural farmers in the Philippines to supply all of his products.
Very cool. And maybe could you tell us a little bit about his story?
Yeah, I think that's what really got to me and inspired the love for social enterprise. He was born poor and he lived in poverty. He lived under a bridge and rose the ranks without much support at that age. But with his education system, he managed to defy the odds, and it's the classic David and Goliath story, and he rose the ranks, and now he's gotten offers with big corporations and getting good deals as what started as really a grassroots social enterprise.
It's such an incredible story, so inspiring.
Do we have what it takes to establish a third category of products? Well, the bar's pretty high. It's got to be far better at doing some key things. And we think we got the goods. We think we've done it.
Social enterprise has to be far better at key things, making money and making impact, gaining just as much as giving. Sometimes people forget the iPad had a lot of criticism, even from the big guys. The president of Nintendo called it a bigger iPod Touch. Google CEO said, "You might want to tell me the difference between a large phone and a tablet." And a fan favorite of mine, Bill Gates, called it a nice reader, but there's nothing on the iPad I look at and say, "Oh, I wish Microsoft had done that." And now, 10 years later in 2020, it's hard not to imagine a tablet without iPad. Imagine being 5 times larger than your next competitor in the technology industry for 10 years, which is an eon in the tech industry, and being 70% of the market. That's what Apple did by making a next generation technology. You might be saying to yourself, it's pretty bold that you're calling social enterprise similar to the iPad. The world's largest professional services network, Deloitte, completed in 2018 their study of the rise of the social enterprise. Let's go over the numbers that promote the ideals of social enterprise. A 2017 study found that 88% of millennials believe that employers should play a vital role in alleviating income inequality, hunger, and the environment. 86% say that business success should be measured by more than just profitability. 38% are more likely to stay with that employer for 5 years if their employer supports the local community. A recent Nielsen study found that 67% of employees prefer to work for socially responsible companies. Now that's great for the employers, that's great for the employees and the future of employees, but what about the business? Well, that same Nielsen study found that 55% of consumers will pay extra for products sold by companies committed to positive social impact. Now let's talk about bottom line. A meta study found that companies were 8 times more likely to outperform their S&P 500 peers, and that a company's corporate social responsibility was directly related to the profitability. And a study of 22,000 investment professionals found that 78% have increased their investments in corporate social responsibility focused firms. The next generation of business looks bright. Can we really compare it to the iPad? In the end, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is what you do with this.
So if you are ready to continue your journey of starting your first social enterprise,
We've created the Social Entrepreneur's Treasure Chest.
and it is filled with all the resources and things we wish we had when we started our first social enterprise.
Yeah, just download it in the description box here.
We will catch you in the next video. So if you are
Yes.